I call the member Jonathan Young.
Mr Speaker, just following Mr Lees-Galloway, if his Jetstar pilots had sought that advice, they would have been told that the Safety and Employment Act 1992, Section 6, imposes a general duty on employers to take all practical steps to ensure the safety of employees at work, including providing and maintaining a safe work environment. An employer's responsibility under that Act for controlling hazards extends to any person's behaviour resulting from physical or mental fatigue that might be actual or potential source of harm to themselves or others. So they are obligated under the Safety and Employment Act 1992, Section 6, to ensure that their pilots are rested to the extent that they do not, in terms of any fatigue, cause harm to themselves or any other person. So, sir, we need to be very clear that this Employment Relations Amendment Bill does not trump and override the provisions of that Act. And that's important for New Zealanders to understand following the very heated and forceful point of view that the member has put forward that carries so many inaccuracies. One of the other things, sir, is that this government, over its time on this side of the House, has been relentlessly working to grow this economy, to increase jobs and to increase wages. Just this last year, as we know, inflation went up 1%, but the average wage went up 2.7%. That's something that we celebrate, and we can say we want to see more happen. So his claim that what we want to do is depress wages is in fact quite contrary to every intent and purpose and goal of this government. Sir, we need to understand that we live in a fast-changing world where it's no longer about competing interests between employers and employees, or competing interests between one company and another, or one region and another. Sir, in today's world where 85% of what we manufacture is exported, we need to understand that it's a matter of one country competing against another. And in that global marketplace, sir, it's very important that New Zealand maintains its advantage, and the advantage is around quality of produce and goods and being able to get it to market in a very competitive way. Therefore, we have to ensure that our companies and our economy is flexible to the point where efficiencies can continue to drive that competitive edge, which we must maintain in order to sell our products around the world, in order that our companies may continue to grow, continue to employ people, and continue to pay good wages. And so, sir, what this bill is attempting to do is to bring the flexibility and fairness into our employment relations framework. One of those areas, of course, is around the area of collective bargaining. The bill changes the duty of good faith so that it no longer requires parties to conclude a collective agreement, but only under certain conditions. The changes, sir, the Employment Relations Authority may declare whether a collective bargaining has concluded, and the aim of this, sir, is to reduce overly protracted bargaining and give some certainty and balance to the collective bargaining framework. Now, we understand, of course, that Peter Dunn, United Future leader, expressed concern that the bill would embolden employers or employees to merely go through the motions of negotiation, then walk away from collective bargaining simply because they oppose or object to the direction negotiations are going, or to being party of a collective agreement. That they could then just call in the Employment Relations Authority to declare the end of bargaining. Sir, because of those concerns about the possible surface bargaining, a new section 50KA had been inserted so that the authority cannot declare bargaining concluded if the parties have not complied with the duty of good faith. The employer cannot simply walk away. They must bargain in good faith with the intent of reaching agreement. These changes aim to prevent bargaining becoming unnecessarily protracted and costly, which is not good for either party. So just as I conclude my contribution, when the last member talks about rest breaks and meal breaks, what we need is some flexibility around that, because we understand that Labor in their last year of their last government brought in this provision that came in 2009. So what it means that under the current legislation, New Plymouth Airport Control Tower would have to be closed down while that tea break took place, because they are operated by a single person. Imagine a parking building has a sole attendant. How would you feel, sir? How would you feel, Mr. Lees-Galloway, if you were unable to leave the building for 10 minutes because the attendant is on their statutory break? So these are just common sense issues. These are the real issues that are there, and this is the flexibility. How would it be that in order to maintain the ability for people to move in and out of that car park, they had to employ somebody else to take the place of that person for 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the afternoon? Absolutely, Mr. Cosgrove, ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And that is why some of these provisions are there that must be negotiated in good faith, sir. Plenty of examples. Sir? Oh, stop barking away like that. You know, I've just named you a couple. All right? Yes, I did indeed. And in fact, why was it that Labor only in their last year of 9 years brought in this provision? Why was it because such a problem? Obviously not. Obviously it wasn't a problem. Sir, I believe that this bill is going to create the flexibility that employers and employees will be able to work through and come to very good arrangements on how it's going to work for their work situations. So I'm very happy to commend this bill to the House.
I call the member Chris Hipkins.
Thank you very much.